Hey y'all, welcome back to Spirited Outdoors. Today we out here taking a look at some plantain, and I got grass growing all up in some of this. I need to clean it out where you can tell what it is. But this is right next to my building. I let this grow. This usually grows right around where you're walking. It's Plantain major. This is the broadleaf plantain. There is Plantain lancata, which is a long slender leaf. They both have the same medicinal properties pretty much. You see this is already gone to seed, a lot of this, but the plant is still good, the root is still good. You can harvest a lot of this. In identification of this, I want to show you when you start harvesting this plant, and I'll try to get a better look. These leaves, when you break this open, you see little strings that come out there. And I have to check with the camera a little bit. I'll get in there on a workbench, and we'll take a plant and I'll pull a whole plant up and clean it up, and we'll get a good identification on this plant. But it grows right around your walkways where you walk. And I'll read about the medicinal properties here shortly, but we're gonna make a salve out of this today. So let me harvest some of this and get it in here on the workbench and get out of this bright sun where you can see what's going on, and show you how to make you a salve out of this. I'm just going to grab this and pull some of these up by the roots, and we'll clean them up on the inside in here. It don't take a whole lot of it to do what we doing. Depends on how much salve you want to make. But I need to clean my little walkway out right here anyway, so. That is probably a plenty. Okay, I've rinsed my plant material off right here, and just my cutting board off. I want to make sure that you guys can identify this plant properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you over here and zoom in and get a really good look at the way this leaf structure and all this is. It's very easy to identify, but some of you may be new. What else we're going to do is I'm going to take all of these seed pods and cut them loose, and I'm going to lay them to the side, and we're going to take all these seeds once they dry really good down to my medicinal garden. I'm going to spread them heavy in one small area and let them grow down there, because I'd rather them not be right here where I'm walking. I'd like to keep my walkway cleaned out, but I let them grow this year so I'd have plenty of seed, and I have got seed. They grow all around the edge of the shed. I kind of leave them and let them seed out so that they'll keep multiplying. So if you have a few in your yard, let them grow up, get big, and seed out like this, and then you run over them with a lawnmower and they'll spread everywhere. Okay, y'all, you see this leaf has these very distinct ribs on the back of it. When you harvest this, you see right there those strings. I hope right here you can see. You see those strings? That is how you identify that positively. That is a good shot of that. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is pull all the, just to clean this up, and I may cut the camera off, but I'm just going to show you on this one until I get it all done. I'm going to pull all of these seed stems out of each one of these plants like this, and I'm going to lay them to the side over here. So before I cut the camera off, I'm going to do all that off camera. I want to tell you, we're going to pull out of this Southeast Medicinal Plant book. This is, like I said, Plantain major. I'm just going to read the medicinal uses of it. It says, in the United States, plantain is thought of as the #1 first aid remedy. But in the United Kingdom and elsewhere, it is used internally for dry coughs, healing of the digestive system. It is a powerful remedy for wounds and is both moistening and astringent. One of the main uses in first aid is a drawing poultice, meaning applying it topically helps draw things up to the surface. So you want to pull out infection, venom, stings from wasps, ants, snake bites. I've seen it help many bee and wasp stings. Used impromptu as a spit poultice. It stopped the pain almost immediately. Is the first herbal medicine to teach your kids. The drawing effect even works for splinters and other embedded objects. I once had a student who used it on their chin and drew out a piece of glass from a car crash 2 years previous in 20 minutes. The leaves contain allantoin. It is a great herb to stimulate tissue growth, wound healing. It can be used as a poultice for a fresh wound that is not too deep, or after the wound has closed up. It can be applied as an oil or salve to promote faster tissue healing and prevent scar tissue. Curiously, it is both astringent, drying, and emollient or demulcent, moistening, which is a good combination for wound healing. I've had people argue with me on Facebook things about using plants for things. So, oh, that contradicts itself. Plants, depending on the way you use them, can have multiple uses and do opposite things. So keep that in mind. Though Americans mostly use it externally, it is commonly used internally for the rest of the world. In England, it is called ribwort and is used for dry, irritated cough. In Central and South America, it is used for peptic ulcers and even stomach cancer, which makes sense, as anything that heals the skin outside your body can also be used to heal the skin that lines the digestive tract. Plantain is taken for granted because it is so common. But because it is so common, we should be using it even more. So, this is a good plant to have. And I do want to say that Brody gets in ants. He hadn't as much this year, but last year he would get in ants because he was 2 years old and he was just wandering around into stuff and didn't know no better. When he would get in ants, I would crush this up and rub it all over him, and they wouldn't even fester up and make a white bump. It would draw that poison out and it would take the sting out. He was fine. So I have it. I have used it as the oil. And as we go through this process, you'll see the difference. But the oil is just before you add the beeswax to it and make it a salve. The oil is just very messy and shiny. It gets smeared around everywhere. Where when you add the beeswax and make it a salve, it'll kind of stay in place, and you can pack more into like a wound if you need to. So let me get this cleaned up, and then we'll start processing it, and we'll make a salve here. I just wanted to show y'all right quick. That is a pretty one there, other than that ugly leaf there. But you can see how pretty these seed heads are. You see the roots coming down. I'll cut them roots off, but I'm sure they're as medicinal as anything else. But I just wanted you to get a good, solid look at it. Okay, I'm going to go right here and just start cutting off the roots of each one of these, just because I want to. There's medicinal property in the roots. It's not necessary. For what I'm doing and the way I want to do it, this is how I like to do it, okay? A lot of people get misconstrued that when you do some things and you do things the way you want to do it, like I do, that you're saying that that's the only way that it'll work. That is not the case. I have made this, y'all, to where I put this all in a blender. In fact, the last batch I made, I actually filmed a video on making this, edited the video, had it all ready to upload, and in the excitement of filming another video when me and Brody was doing some fishing, we deleted the footage. So we refilming this, but that's all right. You see, I have all my seeds right here. Now we're gonna let these lay over here and dry, and we'll take them and spread them in our medicinal garden later on. So I'm just gonna lay them right up here in this window on that corn, and they'll dry, and we'll make seed out of that. So I've got this like this. Now just because I like it like that, I'm cutting these bad looking parts off. They're not gonna hurt your ointment because you're just extracting the oil out of this. So I'm going to cut this up like this just to help me expose the inside stuff so it don't take as long to do what I'm doing. Now, I put this in a blender and blended it up, and I turned it on high heat and brought it almost to a boil. And y'all, it worked and made a good, pretty green salve. I made the salve in about an hour's time. To get a more effective salve, more potent, the longer you cook it, the stronger it'll be. You extracting more out of there. So, we're going to do a double boiler method. Alright, let me get some water here. I just use my old rainwater barrel, and see, then I've got this little pot, and it'll sit right down in there. We may have to put a piece of metal in it to weight it down, I don't know. But we just gonna cram this full of all of this plant material. And y'all, I hope this camera, I'm working with an auto zoom, auto focus, on it. I am not real. Instead of using my phone right now, I'm using my camera because I'm trying to make y'all some better quality videos. I don't want my stuff to look throwed together, so I am doing some experimenting. Alright. So we can lay this knife back over here. I made that. Y'all can go watch that video if you'd like. Alright, see, that's kind of floating right there. As long as it don't tip over, it'll be alright. Now we're going to make a good bit, so this is olive oil. Now you can probably use several different kinds of oil, and I just got the cheap. Use whatever oil you like, but we're going to put a good amount in there because I'm going to make a good bit of salve, okay? And you're going to infuse this, and it's going to take it a little while to infuse. That's probably good. I don't know. We've probably got about a cup full of oil in there. Okay. Now, you can do this with a glass jar. I have put my stuff in a glass jar and put it in there. The problem comes in is we're going to do this about 4 hours. I'm going to set it out here and let it simmer, and I'm going to go back in yonder and go to work on pottery. And while this is sitting out here simmering, this water will evaporate out of it. Your problem comes in using your glass jar in there because you're going to do this on low heat. But your problem comes in when you have to add more water to this and you're trying to pour it around out here. That cold water touches that hot jar and it'll bust that jar. So I recommend you and I got lucky and found this. There's a pair of these. One sits inside of there. You can use your nesting cup from your camping and hunting and fishing, your survival kit. Pull it out of your bug out bag and use it in here. I know y'all got them bug out bags hid somewhere. And put it in there like this. And you got your water around outside. This is known as a double boiler method. Now also, you could do this in a crock pot. The problem with the crock pot is usually it's so big that it takes a lot of oil, or else it's spread out and you only get in the bottom part of your plant. With this being small like this, your oil's coming up and surrounding more of your plant material. So that's the reason for this. But the crock pot is a good method. To do it like that, if you got a smaller crock pot and you can pack it real full, you can do that. So we're going to set this over here. Now this is the beeswax we'll be using. So I hope you can read on that stuff. That thing, I realize that camera is steadily focusing. I may have to turn this. We're going to have to turn that autofocus off, y'all. It keeps going, ooh, and it's going to drive me nuts when I go to editing it and realize what's going on. So we're going to stick with the autofocus. Brody, you want to help Daddy? What you doing? He's done come out here. Come here. What? Let's make some plantain salve. Sit right there. Look, we're going to put this in that fish cooker over there and let this simmer for a while. And we're going to make a plantain. We use plantain around here a lot. Yeah. What we put it on? On that cookie. What do we put plantain on? Cookie. Ain't bites? Yeah. Yeah, he knows and he can identify plantain. He'll pick it and eat it alone. Plantain is edible. All right, well hop down so you don't fall off. Y'all, Brody's over here playing and I'm making racket. I'm gonna open that up and I'm gonna turn this down. If I can figure out which way down is. Other way. I get my wires crossed up every now and then. Yeah, there we go. Alright, now we're going to set this on here, y'all. It's pretty simple and straightforward. I'll have to come out here and keep a check on this, but this is going to slow infuse for about 3 or 4 hours. So I'm going to let it do its deal, and I'll pick y'all back up when we get ready to make the salve. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more water around this. I did add just a little bit more of the plantain to it over the cooking process. This has been cooking. It is currently about 2:30, 3 o'clock, I think. I didn't just look at the clock before I come out here. I started this about 9:30, so it's been cooking for a good while today. I have another bowl. This is the other bowl. I had in mind that that was the larger bowl, but this is actually a larger one, which it don't really matter. So what I'm gonna do, I know I like to say what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this with my pliers, and I'm gonna leave that because I'm gonna melt my wax back in it. But we're gonna just pour this right over in here like this through this strainer. I want to try to get everything that I can get out. Y'all, when this stuff kind of somewhat fits together, it makes life easier. It is not necessary. You can makeshift this with about anything you can imagine. So don't get the idea that you've got to have certain tools and implements. Everybody likes to have cool stuff, but it is not necessary. I wish I had a French press for some of this. It would make life a lot easier. But we work with what we got. And this strainer here, I told y'all in a seed saving video, I got this like at the Dollar Tree or something, but you run across them. I've got a cool old one that I picked up at a yard sale for like 50 cents. You can find stuff to use, and you just want to strain your plant material through here. See how I press that, and I want to get all of this oil that I can. And it's harder to get the oil than it is the water out of a tea or something. But y'all, this plant, I've used it as a spit poultice many times. It works very well. This just makes it easy to use. Like if you want to keep it shelf stable, give it to somebody. And so what I have done here is ordered from Amazon a whole bunch of these little tins. I'm fixing to open them up. I waited till they came in to redo this video because I told y'all I made this video, and I've got a jar of plantain. And I accidentally deleted the video, the whole video, so I'm remaking it, which is okay. I'm doing a better job with the video. But I had several people, when I shared this on my on my Facebook page and on Instagram, I had some pictures of it. I had several people want some of the salve, so I am making this so that I can get it to other people. And I'm not making very much. You can make this in large batches. I could make a very large batch. If I was going to make a large batch, I would probably use some of my vegetable oil to make it in. because the oil is a medium, it has not got any medicinal properties as far as I can tell. It's just a carrier for the medicinal properties that's coming out of this plant and helps to preserve it. I've got a book in there on making medicine, and it tells you how to do all this stuff. You can do this with dried plant material. You can do this over the course of 10 days. Put your dried plant material into the oil and put it in a jar, put the lid on it, and set it out in the sun. Let the sun heat this for 10 days. And it'll do just what I did right there with this cooker. So if you happen to be off grid or whatever, don't have a way to cook it, or don't want to, or if you want to just stick it in there and forget about it, come back and get it in several days, you can do that. And once you do that, then you get back to here, you'll pick up right where I'm at right now and finish this process. So I just thought I'd drop that in there for you. I am fixing to call this good. There is still some oil in that, but I am probably have gotten all that I am going to get. I have an extra pot over here. I'm going to dump that in. Okay. Now, just for the sake of the way I want to do this, I'm going to pour on the oil, and you see how green that oil, it has a little bit of plant material in that. Y'all, that is not going to hurt anything. I'm going to sit here and let this strain just a minute. And I hear the chickens, it done got excited. So while that is straining, I'm going to set it over there and prop it against that. Let's get some of our tins out. I have not opened these, y'all. I don't want to tear them. I don't want to just tear into them. Y'all know about tear into something? That's what I normally do, just tear into it. I don't know what them birds has got wound up about over there. One of them must have laid an egg and they singing out of the egg. Oh man, I'm gonna get a couple of these out. I'm probably gonna make about 4 of these. Y'all, this is not hard to make at all. I want y'all to understand. This is very easy. I mean, I'm showing you how to do it. It makes a good video, but it's not rocket science. A lot of people overthink a lot of this medicinal plant stuff. It is not real hard. I don't know how many of these I'm going to need. Y'all, just to see, let me get one a hand open. I'll come over here and open it up so you can tell. And I think this camera, I don't know if I'm in focus or not, but either way. See this? Just so you get a size, I will link these tins in the description of this video down below. So if you want to order some of these, a lot of times I get skeptical when I go to order something and they got whatever ounce. I think these are 2 ounce. I think I'd have to get my phone and go back to Amazon and look for you. But I'm going to line these up right along this edge so that as I pour them, and y'all will see what I'm talking about, pour them in just a minute. Okay. Alright, that's good enough there. Okay. I've got this this is still warm. You see about how much, let me bring y'all over here. Look. Where you can see this operation. You can't see my face, but I'm ugly and you don't need to look at me no way. I know some of you women appreciate when I ain't got my head stuck up in the camera. So what I'm going to do right now is add this plant material. So what I do is I'm up to about right here with my oil. I want to mix it about half and half to get the consistency that I want. And we'll put this back in the, this is going to make a good, I may fill all them jars up, which is fine. I'll sell this or something, but in case you didn't know, this is white beeswax pellets. I'll link this in the description of the video. I ordered this on Amazon back sometime. I have made a good bit of salve with this. And I have used it for some other projects with my black powder and different things. So I think you can read that. Anyway, it's hard for me with this little bitty window on this camera to see how in focus something really is. That is warm and it is melting that, but what I want to do, and I'm going to use my pliers, let's put this back into this heated up right here. Alright, we're going to stir this a little bit. Y'all see that? Them pellets, it'll take them a little bit to melt, but you want to stir that and mix that up good. It'll turn to a solid liquid in there when all that wax melts really, really good. And now when I did this in the jar, I left about this much space in the top of my jar to where if it was too thin, I could add some beeswax to it and remelt it and thicken it up. And if it was too thick, I could add a little more oil to it and thin it down. So, but now with me putting it in all these tins, I'm probably going to be done with it. But I know about half and half. And I may add a little more wax to it just to be sure, because I want it to be thick. But it'll thicken up. I got the tins. This has got something in the bottom of it. It come out, bud. I'll have to wash all of my other stuff up right here. But this is just a great value brand oil. Extra virgin olive oil. You can use any brand that tickles your fancy. It's not necessary to use a certain brand. You can use any wax pellet you want to. And you can put this in about anything you want to. I figured a baby food jar would be ideal. So, but these little tins are handy. They got a good screw-on lid. The first batch I made last year, and I've wound up giving most of it away by dipping it out with a spoon and putting it in Ziploc bags to give to folks that needed it. But I put it in a tuna can. And then I found that a regular old mason jar lid would screw right down on there. It wouldn't really screw on there, but it would kind of go down on there. So that's what my first batch is in. And then the second batch I put in a jar. Good Lord, y'all, what a hornet thing flying around right here. Did y'all see that? He's under the camera. He may come in front of the camera. He's about that long. He may be smelling that beeswax, Rick. I wish he'd get still where I could get him on camera. Y'all might see him buzzing around here in front of me in a minute. But anything you put this in where you can put a lid on it, it'll work. You just take it, rub your fingers in it, rub it on whatever you're trying to doctor. If you leave that spoon in there like that while it's cooking, the handle will be nice and warm when you go to touch it. I just thought that might be some information some of y'all might appreciate. Alright, we about got this melted to the consistency I can deal with. I'm going to let it melt just a little bit more. And then we're going to start pouring it. And I'm going to attempt to pour this without making a mess. Let me set y'all up to watch that. Y'all forgive all my junk. I said I cleaned up a little bit. I watched Mike Reed cleaned up his bench and all the other day, and it inspired me. I really needed to clean my work area up, and I did rake some of it off, but y'all, I ain't had time to get out here and really get it spotless yet. Look at the little gnats and stuff are laying on there. Let me lay this over here out of the way. That was a little warm. I grabbed it with them pliers. I'm gonna go ahead. Well, I'm gonna leave that on a minute, because I may do something crazy and have to warm it up. Now I'm gonna back this up a little bit because they're not level, and I think they need to be See that bench is cupped a little bit. Alright, let me get a better grip here. Let's see. Alright. That ain't doing too bad. I hadn't made near the mess I figured I'd make. Well, if somebody's interested in one of these little jars of Plantain Salve, you're going to have to email me, or you're going to have to get on my Facebook page. You can email me at justinpeden@gmail.com, and there'll be a limited supply of this, obviously, and they'll be for a small, phenomenal fee. I can't give them to you for free. I'd like to. But if I can help somebody out and you bad need it and can't, I'm showing you how to make it so you can do it for yourself. I'd like to know all of you can do all this stuff for yourself. Alright. That ended that. At last, and now I got one left that I didn't pour in, and I know I worked my way out of the camera. Y'all will have to forgive me for that. We're gonna let all of this cool down, and when it cools down, you see how that's turned I'm gonna drop that in. Drop it in that. It's already got that. It'll melt down into there good. It won't hurt a thing. And y'all, this will make a good salve for you. Put on your kids' stings and ain't bites and cuts and wounds and all such as that stuff. And I'll use this next tin. I'll make me a tin right there of some patch lube or something like that to carry with me to the. Them little tins will be useful for all kind of stuff. So we won't be throwing them away. We'll hang on to them. So let's let this dry and then we'll take a look at it. One thing that I wanted you to mention, dealing with this wax, you want to clean your bowls and your tools and all that stuff up while it's still hot. Now obviously they cooled off enough I can handle. I held it with that pliers and wiped it out with this old nasty rag. This pot here ain't no big deal. It's got some oil in that. I don't know where I'm gonna discard that yet. But as I still got hot water over here, that strainer, dip it down in that hot water. That way you melt all that stuff out, because that wax is hard to get rid of once you let it cool. Well, we got this solidified. Now you can see I've been kind of rubbing my finger around this and checking the consistency. I don't want it so hard that I gotta dig my fingernails in there to get it on my finger. I just want to be able to rub it and it come off on my finger. And I should have put that on the other finger, because I do have a sort of a sore. This is an ant bite that I've been picking at, and it's been red, and this is just what that's good for. See how I can rub that salve on there and it ain't a greasy mess. You can take like this that's still on this where that's oily, that oil right there, you see how shiny and greasy it is all on my finger, and you rub that on something and it gets everywhere, to get off on your clothes. And the wax, this just don't do it as bad. So and I'll label these with some kind of way. I don't know exactly. I may just write on the bottom. I hate to write on all these tins, but y'all, I made a whole heap of this, which is okay. I'm sure I'm going to find and encounter people that want this. I know I have several people already that has asked for it. So make sure you get up with me, and I'm not going to chase you all over the world to try to give you a $5 can of stuff, because the gas fuel done got sky high. I had an old man tell me several years ago, we was talking about the trucking industry. He said it's hard to make a living. He said for fuel it done got sky high. And he's right. So anyway, I got little sugar ants up here. That's some little bitty ants crawling around trying to take over stuff. But I got quite a bit of this now. Plenty to last me, so I won't be making Plantain Salve for a while. I still plan on making elderberry. Sir, I was kind of holding out till I could get my hands on some goldenrod honey to make it with. I usually put sugar in mine, and my elderberry stuff, I don't really make a syrup. I make a juice and put it in the refrigerator and store it 2 or 3 jars at a time. And all my elderberries are in the freezer, so not hurting. I can make that over in the winter if I need to. It ain't no big deal. But I've got about 9 cans of this. So, y'all, that is making Plantain Salve. Thank y'all for watching Spirit of the Outdoors. I hope you learned something today. Good salve, put on cuts, wounds, ant bites, stings, wall stings, bee stings. It's perfect for all that stuff. So thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time. Remember, the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. And we'll see y'all.